neighbors, Carrie Zamora, Carla Leslie, and Jocelyn Mementa.
Good afternoon and welcome to CBS 13's News for Women. We are minus Becky today. She's feeling under the weather, so we hope she's at home taking good care of herself.
Where's Jocelyn? She's in the newsroom.
She's in the newsroom getting ready to fill in for Becky later on in the day. So
that's right. Okay.
It's you and me today.
Yeah. Okay. Want to talk about our weekends? What did you do this weekend?
You know, I slept a lot, just kind of took care of myself, you know, cleaned up the apartment.
That's
kind of a lazy days.
I had selective memory loss. We cleaned the house. It was a rare occasion.
That's a great thing to do on the weekend.
My daughter helped, so it's okay. That's what Saturdays are for. Went to church on Sunday. Had a great time.
Fairly good weekend.
Oh, yes.
Never long enough, though. That's the thing.
I will never complain about a weekend. You won't hear. Even a bad weekend, we were talking earlier, is a good weekend.
Well, you know, I always see movies on the weekend, and this weekend I actually rented one instead of going to the theater, and I rented Mumford. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's a story about this guy who moves into this small town somewhere and claims to be a psychologist, only he's not. He has no credentials at all, and he's got everyone in the town coming to his office and getting results with him, but he has no credentials, and of course it comes, I don't know the actor's name. Nobody big.
Sometimes those are the best movies, you know, turn out to be.
Pretty good. I suggest it.
Mumford.
It was interesting. Yes.
Okay, so it was a fun little movie. Well, it's neat.
Good weekend.
Here's, you know, speaking of weekends and, you know, all that can lead to, did you know that nearly half of all women lose their sex drives, most often after having children? Two sisters at Boston University have teamed up to help women combat this problem. And tonight, 48 Hours will show you how many women are using a testosterone treatment to take control of their sex lives. We'll take a sneak peek at the story.
I have no sexual drive. All of a sudden, my libido is disappearing.
What you've just heard is not uncommon. In fact, experts estimate that nearly half of all American women have sexual dysfunctions, with the most common complaint, loss of desire.
It is something that we can definitely address, evaluate, and treat.
At the Women's Sexual Health Clinic in Boston, Dr. Jennifer Berman, a urologist, and her sister Laura, a sex therapist, believe there is a medical solution to this problem.
We are beginning to realize that the same medical problems that cause arousal problems in men also cause sexual dysfunction and arousal problems in women.
Doctors now believe that a low sex drive in a woman may be caused by a hormone deficiency. Testosterone, the hormone usually associated with men, is also key to the female sex drive.
The good news is that it is a pretty straightforward problem.
For former model Christina Ferrari, testosterone changed everything.
I got a buzz like right away, and I was going, wow, this is really great. You know, I felt like a tingling sensation.
You actually feel a difference.
Oh yes, I do. Absolutely, I feel a difference. I feel.
She's put her experiences into a book called Okay, So I Don't Have a Headache, encouraging other women to get help.
And I'm enjoying my sex again, and I'm having great orgasms, if I can say that on the air. You know, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it.
Going to be an interesting piece.
Right. Okay. You know, and if the headache lasts for, you know, over 2 years, you need to see a doctor for headaches.
I think that's probably some good advice.
I think, you know, women, especially, you know, during the child-raising years and childbearing years, my goodness, you know, I think we're all tired, for one thing, and stressed out with all that comes with running a family. And, you know, women need to realize that, and men too, that, you know, couples need to just get away by themselves. I've always heard that. I don't really take my own advice, but I think that's a lot of it. But then, you know, it'd be interesting to see what this report has to say.
So if you can't go on a vacation, I guess you get some testosterone. I don't know.
Go figure.
We'll see what happens. Well, you know, Carla, we have an interesting subject today. It's actually homeschooling, and it's becoming more and more popular around. Your sister actually homeschools.
Oh, yes. You know, we grew up here, and a lot of people might remember my sister, Jerry Leslie Billingsley now, and she now has 9 children. She just had her 9th about a year ago. Her oldest is going to get married this year in June or July, and he's 19. So, you know, the ages span all the way from, you know, 1 to 19. And she just loves her family, and she has done so good. She has homeschooled all of them. So she has done that for...
What a challenge.
Probably 17 years. The oldest, or well, no, it wouldn't be 17 years. Whenever he started, about 13 years now. And they're just great kids, and, you know, we all sort of, what is she doing? Homeschooling these? When is she going to find time? And of course, she doesn't work. Her husband works, and they really have a very old-fashioned way of living, and it works so good.
Do you see a difference in her kids and with kids in public school?
Yes, it's a Christian-based curriculum that they subscribe to. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it works, and they teach what they want to teach in their home, and their kids are very respectful. I mean, they're normal kids. They get in scraps with each other, but tell you what, the older kids, they start working. They mow lawns. They help around the house. The older girls help with raising the younger children. And it really is a beautiful thing to see in action. And they're very intelligent, very smart, because they have to stay with the same standards and tests that public schools are held to. I mean, they have to show that they're making the grade. And I really believe in it. It works for them. It's probably not for me. You know, I kind of chose the career route, and she wanted to stay at home. But I think in many ways she is more successful because it shows in her children.
Do you think that, I mean, seeing them at home with their family, do they have a strong family connection that a lot of families don't have?
Absolutely. It's beautiful.
It's needed.
I've often thought that I need to take a camera and show her life and everything, but I'm very proud of her and her family.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I bet since she's home, maybe she has a lot of time to cook, and we wish that your sister would send us a recipe. We've talked about this hundreds of times
casseroles.
Here.
She does casseroles.
Love it. You know, we're really interested in getting your recipes, and we have several, but we need many more. We want to share recipes every other week here on News for Women. So if you have one, send your recipe to us by email. Our address is forwomen@klbk.com. Well, as we said, homeschooling is becoming more and more popular, especially here in Texas. Up next on CBS 13's News for Women, we go inside a Lubbock family's home for a look at how parents Kelly and Rex homeschool their children. Stay with us.
Voted the #1 and 2 newscasts in the state of Texas. A Texas-sized win for the #1 newscast, KAMC, and the #2 newscast in the state, KLBK-TV.
Andy, you startled me.
Hey. At Domino's, we hand-stretch dough for quality crust. Don't be tempted into taking shortcuts.
I don't think so, Andy.
Domino's pizza with hand-stretched crust.
Andy!
Domino's. Bad Andy. Good pizza. Call Domino's and get a large one-topping pizza for just $7.99. That's a large one-topping pizza for only $7.99. Add a second pizza for just $5.99. Call now.
Natural disasters affect lives.
Project Impact is designed to change the way we deal with them.
Businesses, civic organizations, and citizens are coming together to soften the impact of natural disasters on our community.
The Texas-sized stations were the very first Project Impact partners.
We want to thank them publicly for their involvement with us.
Project Impact can provide affordable weather protection, work to solve the drainage problem in Lubbock, and educate us all on weather safety.
The Texas-sized station
making an impact with Project Impact to save lives.
The CBS 13 ABC 28 Community Calendar. Through May 20th, Westwood Evangelism Center will be taking registration for Summer Parents' Day Out. May 20th, Old Indian Trade Days in Seminole, and the citywide garage sale in Sundown. May 27th, the Gem and Mineral Show at the Civic Center and a Pioneer Day celebration in Floydada. June 5th, Heritage Church hosts the fantastic Good News Ocean Odyssey. And June 12th, the Garden and Arts Center begins an art camp for children 6 to 12. To get your event on the calendar, drop us a fax at 748-2250.
This married couple has everything except sex.
I have no sexual drive.
Can science solve her problem? Ask Christina Ferrari.
Wow, this is really great.
And Frank and Gloria have been happily married for 25 years.
We love each other very, very much.
They also love to have sex with other people.
To many people, having sex with somebody besides your wife is excessive. To us, it is not.
A shocking lifestyle inside the new sexual revolution. 48 hours tonight.
You're watching CBS 13's For Women with co-hosts Becky Neighbors and Carrie Zamora with contributions from Carla Leslie and Jocelyn Mementa. This is CBS 13's For Women.
Welcome back to CBS 13's News for Women. The days are gone when homeschooling was thought of as rare and unusual. Today, Texas leads the nation in homeschooling families, and it's becoming more popular here in Lubbock. More than 300 families have taken on the education task. Today, we meet the Kennedy family. Young Sydney pieces together a project on the floor. Her two brothers learn anatomy on the computer. They're at home, but they get all the education they need. Their parents have chosen to homeschool.
I'm a public school teacher. I've taught in the public schools myself, and I had a desire to teach. And here I had the option to teach my own children that I care about and love more than any others.
It's a full-time job to teach the kids, not to mention they're all on different levels.
It is the most challenging and absolutely the most rewarding thing that I have ever done. And to be able to share those moments with my children in the day when they have that aha experience where that light bulb comes on.
And the light bulb comes on with math, science, reading, even scripture. The kids learn about religion, too.
We have a strong faith in Jesus Christ. We're Christians, and we wanted to incorporate that into our education and to spread and to incorporate our beliefs and values into our children.
Those values is family. Since the kids stay home to learn, the family spends more quality time together.
I just think that we're lucky in this day and age to be able to choose what fits us best and meets our needs at the time.
Of course, the children need to get out of the house for social time with friends, and they do.
It is absolutely a balancing act. And, you know, when we had our kids in public school, we were trying to balance the time between the school and the activities that took them outside of our home with the time that we felt was important as a family and a family unit. And now that we're homeschooling, it's a balancing act in the other way. We have the time as a family to spend, but we do know that they need to have outside contacts. They need to have time with their peers. And so we are always looking for creative ways to meet that need.
And this family is certainly creative, right down to holding the kids accountable for what they learn.
We do give final exams, and we do issue report cards. And their daddy, as also their principal, expects a certain amount of work and a certain criteria for what we feel our individual children can succeed in.
Right now, they are succeeding at home, but the Kennedys will take it one step at a time.
We do try to take a commitment year by year, and we try to plan for 1 year how we will educate our children for that year. But we know that our children are growing up, and they're changing, and their needs are changing.
And joining us now is Kellie Kennedy. Kellie, thank you so much for joining us today. Tell me, we end the story there kind of on a cliffhanger, that you take things 1 year at a time. You plan 1 year at a time as to whether you're going to continue to homeschool. You have been for 4 years. Don't know what the future holds.
Right. Now, of course, we're aware that our children are growing up, and as their needs change, we are lucky in that we get to work with them every day, and we see those needs evolve, and so we are always keeping our eyes open for creative ways to meet those needs. Sometimes we can do it outside of our own homeschool. Our kids go once a week to a school where they take classes in Spanish, homeschool, art. They are in dance and music lessons outside of our own homeschool. They participate in sports in the community. In fact, the problem is not so much balancing trying to get all those things in their lives as much as it is to fit it all in there. We really have more opportunities than we can find time for.
What was it that drew you to homeschooling that said, you know what, I'm going to try this challenge?
Well, you know, I'm a teacher myself. I'm a certified teacher and have taught in the public schools, and so teaching is my love. But my children have become my first love as far as my career goes, and I consider motherhood a career for me. And so it was just natural to decide that as I began to meet other homeschooling families, I saw that I observed them, and I thought, you know, they are making that work. And I looked at their children, and I looked at the relationship that they had with their children, and they really had something we wanted. And yet I wanted my husband to have the same desire that I did. And so I literally prayed about it. And I asked the Lord to make my husband have the same desire as I did. And one day, out of the blue, my husband's a farmer, and he came in off the tractor, and he had heard a segment on the radio about homeschooling, and he came in and said, you know, this is really something that we should look into. And one thing led to another, and we finished that school year, and by the end of it, even our own children were asking to give it a try.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
And you even say that years from now, even if they do in a couple of years decide to go back into public school, that you'll never regret doing this.
Oh, no, I don't think that the time that we've spent with our children could be anything but just a memory of of time well spent. You know, in some of our reading this year, we came across a quote that says, to love what you do and feel that it matters, what could be any more fun? And that's what we're really doing. We love what we do, we feel that it matters, and so it's fun to us.
And you actually have a Christian-based curriculum as well.
Yes, we do. Actually, we bring in a little bit of everything, whatever we feel meets our kids' needs at the time. I could throw out some names like Saxon Math and Shirley Grammar that people out there might be familiar with even in the public schools. But we also use a curriculum that uses textbooks, but also readers that we can read what is going on in history in a story format. And some of the neatest times that we've spent actually as a family is sitting around the living room in the evening and sharing a book together. But I also had a baby this year, and so we studied the development of a baby. And not only did we read about babies, but we also saw first time we rolled over, first time we sat up, first time we laughed out loud.
And your kids can actually be there for those things.
Absolutely.
Rather than just hearing about them when they come home from school.
It's great.
It's been a wonderful thing for your family, hasn't it?
It is.
That's really great. Well, if you're interested in learning more about homeschooling, you can call the Texas Homeschool Coalition. The number is 793-7070. Coming up later on News for Women, public school reaction to homeschooling. Do LISD officials think it's a good idea? We'll have the answer. Stay with us.
CBS 13 and American State Bank want you to be safe during severe weather. So tune in to CBS 13 or call 748-1313. CBS 13, the spirit of West Texas.
Your first could be an impulse or a gift someone sent, but all the rest will be Twist-A-Vance, the candle with triple fragrance. If you haven't been in lately, we've got great new items. If you've never been, wow, now is a great time for your first time. Come see our new furniture line. It's affordable, but looks priceless, and Twist-A-Vance has a new art gallery. We offer the most coveted artwork, and we frame for half of what you'd expect to pay. Check out our stained glass, or let our expert make you a custom piece. Don't forget our candles, now in summer fragrances.
It's back and bigger than ever. $1,000 cash for you and $1,000 for your favorite school. Play the Classroom Cash Quiz Tuesday nights on CBS 13 News at 10. Just watch CBS 13's News at 10 and listen for the Cash Quiz question. If you're first to call with the correct answer, you'll win $1,000 cash. Plus, another $1,000 will go to your favorite school. The Classroom Cash Quiz brought to you by CBS 13 and American State Bank. Tuesday nights on CBS 13 News at 10. The spirit of West Texas.
People in Lubbock speak out.
Drug deterrence should start at the home. Drug testing inside of an institution, I don't believe in that, because I really do believe that violates a person's rights, no matter whether it be a child, an adult, or however it may be set up. It's a violation. Personally, I believe that drug education and the war on drugs should start at the home. That's where young people build their morals and their ethics from.
Watch for the Vox Populi cameras coming to your area soon.
Tonight it's season finale Monday. And we're cranking the laugh-o-meter right off the scale. First, she wants Paris. He wants to rent an RV. The battle is on.
RV-N-O.
The King of Queens. Then it's a season finale worth celebrating. How's it going to end?
It's a surprise.
A full hour of Raymond. And get ready to meet the new Sensitive Becker.
Where's my food?
Well, sensitive for Becker.
Hey, you know, I don't speak Chinese, but I know what that means.
Tonight, season finale Monday on CBS.
You're watching CBS 13's For Women with co-hosts Becky Neighbors and Carrie Zamora with contributions from Carla Leslie and Jocelyn Momenta. This is CBS 13's For Women.
Welcome back to CBS 13's News for Women. Let's get a check on the day's headlines with ABC 28's Bill Maddox. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Carrie. How are you?
Doing good.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Many people in the rural parts of Lubbock County may soon get a new address. It's all part of the county's address conversion project. The goal is for every address to be converted from a rural route address to a sequenced address. Emergency officials say the discrepancy between 911 addresses and postal route addresses is of great concern to them. We'll have more on this tonight at 6 and 10 on ABC 28. A $25,000 reward remains for information leading to the arrest and recovery of money taken from an armored van in Idalou. CBS 13 and ABC 28 have learned new information regarding the heist, which happened earlier this month. Some money may have been recovered in that heist. We'll have much more on the new developments in the case on both stations tonight at 5 o'clock. Finally, a week-long food drive comes to an end. The letter carriers of Lubbock collected 100,929 pounds of food this past week, collecting non-perishable foods from Lubbock residents. We'll have these stories and much more coming up at 5, 6, and 10 on ABC 28. Carrie?
Thank you, Bill. It's been a hot day, and chances are tomorrow is going to be even hotter. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist David Young to find out just how hot.
Oh, absolutely right. Tomorrow, records are in jeopardy. It looks like we're going to eclipse the century mark tomorrow, if not today already. Take a look at the forecast. Current temperature, 99 degrees. Record today is 105, so I don't think we'll make it quite that warm. But by 10 p.m., we still should be in the 80s under mostly clear skies. Southwest winds at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. To our east today, a few clouds. That may give way to some severe weather there. Tornado watch in effect for portions of Oklahoma until 10 o'clock tonight. For us, though, just hot and dry. Temperatures 99 here in Lubbock, 100 in Roswell, 102 for Childress, also for Wichita Falls, 94 degrees in Midland. Tomorrow's forecast, 65 by 7 a.m., 94 by noontime, and how about 106 tomorrow? The record, I believe, is around 102, so it looks like we're going to break it. Some areas down around maybe even Post over towards Snyder could hit 110 tomorrow. Much more coming up on this second heat wave of the spring season coming up today at 5 o'clock.
I think this is a good week to crank up the air conditioner.
Oh, it's going to be one. Tomorrow's one of those days where you really want to take it easy, especially between about 10 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. That's when it's kind of dangerous outside.
Drink lots of water.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I don't know the answers to all the questions, but I do know the difference between Mark Twain and Shania Twain.
Jeopardy today at 6, followed by CBS 13 News at 6:30.
There are many reasons we use the doctors at Texas Tech Medical Center. Some people think it's because my husband's a doctor there, and that's one, but the real reason, our kids. I know they're seeing the finest doctors, doctors that are setting new standards in research and medical breakthroughs, doctors who care. Their new location in Southwest Lubbock, the Texas Tech Medical Center Southwest, adds convenience, easier access to some of the world's best doctors. They can be your doctors, too.
We're on campus today to find out if people prefer the taste of Pepsi or Coca-Cola.
What's your favorite cola? I like Coke.
Definitely Coke. Has to be Coke.
Which tastes best?
I think this one.
That one. Look this up and let's see what you chose.
I chose Pepsi. I chose Pepsi over Coca-Cola.
I've been missing out.
I'm a Pepsi drinker now.
What are you going to take today?
I'm going to take the Pepsi.
In taste tests nationwide, more people prefer the taste of Pepsi over Coke. So take the Pepsi challenge and let your taste decide.
Now you can earn your associate degree in 18 months or less at International Business College. They offer associate degrees in 3 quality programs, so pick up the phone and call. Classes start every 6 weeks and are filling up fast. Receive your degree from IBC in less time than any other local college. IBC offers financial aid for those who qualify and job placement services. It's your life. Make it count by earning an associate degree from International Business College today.
It's your life. The CBS 13 ABC 28 Community Calendar. Through May 20th, Westwood Evangelism Center will be taking registration for Summer Parents' Day Out. May 20th, Old Indian Trade Days in Seminole and the citywide garage sale in Sundown. May 27th, the Gem and Mineral Show at the Civic Center and a Pioneer Day celebration in Floydada. June 5th, Heritage Church hosts the fantastic Good News Ocean Odyssey. And June 12th, the Garden and Art Center begins an art camp for children 6 to 12. To get your event on the calendar, drop us a fax at 748-2250.
Welcome back to CBS 13's News for Women. Your chance to help the South Plains Food Bank is just around the corner at the annual Celebration for the Green. Joining me now with more is Sharon Adams. Sharon, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Explain Celebration for the Green.
Okay, what it is, we have an event, and it's a barbecue, and we have some entertainment, and then we'll have a lot of birdhouses that will be on display there. And what it benefits is our division of the food bank that does all of our community garden, adult market gardens, all of these different programs that are helping people learn to help themselves.
Okay, now you brought up the birdhouses. We actually have some here with us. These are birdhouses that people have made and have donated them to be auctioned off to raise money for the South Plains Food Bank.
That's right.
Okay, tell us what you have here.
Okay, this one, and if you can see the detail in it, it's just absolutely adorable. It was made by the West Texas Cotton Picking Painters, and they have done several birdhouses for us. They're a national guild, and they have to do some kind of community service to keep their national standing. And so what they've decided is to make us kind of their project, and they do birdhouses to donate. So this is really a nice one. Then this other one right over here was sent to us from out of state. We get several out-of-state birdhouses. This one came from Darby, Montana, from a guy named Don Raymond, and they have the Lincoln Log Birdhouse Company. So in the detail, if you can see, the little furniture on the front porch is even hand-carved.
It's unbelievable. So it's not too late for people to enter birdhouses into this auction.
No, we will take birdhouses as long as people are willing to bring them to us. Last year, we raised about $18,000 with this project. This is the birdhouses alone. This was not the rest of the money from the event, but birdhouses alone. And this year, we have 314 birdhouses. Well, no, today I counted. We're up to 320 now. I counted a while ago when I was there.
That's wonderful.
320 birdhouses so far.
So you mentioned other things that are part of this celebration for the green, a raffle with a quilt.
We have a beautiful quilt. It's on display at the Ranch and Heritage Center today through June the 3rd. It was made by Bernina, and then it was quilted by a group in Rawls. And it is absolutely, just the detail in it is wonderful. And we're selling chances for the quilt. And then we have all of our birdhouses on display there. They can go and see all the birdhouses that we have so far.
And of course, we have to get back to the barbecue part.
The barbecue, yes. Saturday, June the 3rd, about 4 o'clock, we want everybody to come out and put their final bids on their birdhouses. The bidding will go on until about 8, but they need to get there early to get around and get their bidding done. Then we'll have a dinner that starts at 5. We'll have the live auction with about 25 birdhouses in it that will be actually auctioned off by an auctioneer. And then we'll have the Cactus Theater stars come out and do some entertaining.
And obviously this has been a big success. 4 years now.
This is our 4th year to do it. And it's just getting bigger every year.
It sounds like it. Well, if you're interested in being part of Celebration for the Green, there's the information. 5 p.m. Saturday, June 3rd. It's going to be at the Ranching Heritage Center. And tickets, what do people need to do for tickets, Sharon?
They can either call Select a Seat, or they can call the South Plains Food Bank and inquire about information for tickets.
It sounds like such fun.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for bringing the birdhouses.
You're welcome.
Still to come on CBS 13's News for Women, public school reaction to homeschooling children. Do school officials think it works? We'll have the answer later in the show. Stay with us.
CBS 13 welcomes those contributing stations who have added the big voice of radio to the Texas-sized news network.
Innocent people can get injured, sometimes while under the care of a healthcare provider.
No one wants to believe their provider could make a mistake, but it happens, even with the best of doctors in the finest of hospitals. At Turner and Jordan, we've helped innocent victims whose lives will never be the same because of a medical provider's mistake. If you even suspect a problem, you deserve some answers and some peace of mind. Call me personally for a free, confidential visit.
Call 763-3661.
We're in the Feist Yellow Pages.
Inches Away wants to know, how do you spend your days? Shopping for the perfect outfit? Enjoying lunch with friends? Why not complete your day at Inches Away? Lose weight, get fit, and have fun. Call Inches Away today and see how we can change your life.
Right now, get 3 months free from Inches Away.
Everybody has a story to tell, and CBS 13's Mike Shaw wants to tell everybody's story. Mike lets the people of West Texas tell their heartwarming stories about the people and places that make West Texas special. Don't miss Mike Shaw's Spirit Report, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on CBS 13 News at 6:30. The Spirit Report. Community stories from your community station. CBS 13, the spirit of West Texas. It's an offer that's going to make you see red.
Coach Spike Dykes saw Raider red for over a decade. It's for this reason we're offering fans this beautiful, suitable for framing poster celebrating the coach's outstanding football career.
Get them while they're hot.
Mail a check or money order for $19.95 plus shipping and handling to Poster, KLBK, 7403 South University, Lubbock, 79423. The Spike Dykes commemorative poster.
I could be signing yours now.
You're watching CBS 13's For Women, etc.
Good afternoon and welcome back to CBS 13's News for Women. Before we move on, we want to mention something really quick. We want to congratulate Texas Tech's baseball team. They've just received a bid to play in the NCAA tournament. How about that?
They've really done well, especially here in the last few weeks of play. This will be the boys' 6th consecutive season to play in the tournament.
How exciting.
And Jeff Alt is going to have more on this great accomplishment and who they will be playing tonight at 6:30, so don't miss that.
You know, Carla, a lot of people are internet fanatics. I am not a computer person.
I've logged on maybe 4 times.
I know, it's not very easy. I don't think, maybe it's just I'm ignorant when it comes to computers, but I
get hung up on searching for all of those things.
And what's a web browser and whatever, confusing to me, but it's very popular. I actually have a lot of friends who make their own web pages.
But see, you have no excuse. It was your age group that you're the computer age group. Mine was the one just when I got out of high school, they were starting to really start to introduce the computers in schools. And now, of course, my kids, they can find their way around just no problem.
Isn't that sad? And people half my age can just zip right on through the internet. I don't know the thing about it. But, you know, the question is, who governs the internet and how do you know if what you're posting online is legal? Well, tonight, 48 Hours takes a look at one Florida woman whose internet photos landed her in hot water. Let's take a look.
Polk County, Florida certainly seems like an unlikely place for a First Amendment battle. And this
sex sells.
Hardly looks like free speech. But facing 5 years in prison on obscenity charges,
Polk County does not regulate the internet.
Tammy Robinson says she's ready to fight for her rights.
If they take your right away to view these pictures, they take my right away to take these pictures, what are they going to knock on your front door next and take away from you?
What are you facing with these charges?
Worst case scenario, 5 years in prison.
And just how scary is that for you, that possibility?
It's very scary. I think that my daughter that's 11 would be 16. You miss a lot.
But Tammy is determined that won't happen. She's hired First Amendment specialists.
This is the first internet obscenity prosecution in the country. Thank you, sir.
Attorneys David Wasserman and Larry Walters.
Basically what we do, we fight City Hall, and we win.
They filed a slew of countersuits, claiming prosecutor Brad Copley is violating Tammy's right to free expression.
I do the job that I think needs to be done here.
But do you bring to this job what some people would consider old-fashioned values?
I hope my values are those of the future.
I will fight it to the Supreme Court if I have to.
Facing prison, but fighting back.
I put my website back up. It's all red, white, and blue. It's got that flag right behind me.
Well, what an example. Way to go.
What do you think about that? What is she thinking?
Well, I don't know what to think. I know that there are many pornographic sites out there, and that's what we want to protect our kids from. And so when does filth become freedom of speech, freedom of expression? I'm sorry.
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. I think
I don't
what she
either.
does is disturbing.
I mean, I believe in right to free speech, freedom of expression, but you can't yell fire in a crowded theater when there is no fire. There, you know, that's
true.
against the law. You can't threaten to shoot the president. That's against the law. That's, you know, one could argue that that's freedom of expression or free speech. I don't know. Well, let's learn from this. Let's see where this thing goes.
Well, what do you think about her 5 years in prison?
Well, I guess we'll see. I don't think it's really going to come to that. I think they're going to set a precedent probably with cases like this. But what about all those other pornographic sites out there? I mean, that just, you know, perhaps it was the way that her web page is set up. Perhaps it is more accessible than some of these sites that you have to pay to get onto, or I don't know, but I mean, that's what scares me. My kids can get to the internet, you know, at home.
We were talking about that. Kids know how to surf the internet so easily.
You can type in a little search word and bam, there's all the filth that, you know, you would want or be looking for. My goodness.
Well, I wonder what she says, because you saw her daughter walking with her there.
Well,
I wonder if she knows what
you know, I think parents are examples for their children.
I think so, too. Yeah. It'd be an interesting report, I would say.
Well, I hate to pass a judgment on this. You know, if it is a First Amendment issue, well, let's figure out what is freedom of expression and what is just pornography.
And where you draw the line.
Right. And, you know, perhaps she needs to channel this into another website that, you know, where it's
Adults
governed
only?
or, right, adults. I don't know. I really don't know that much about it. Anyway.
Interesting story.
That's what I feel about.
Up next on CBS 13's News for Women, the other side to our topic today, public school reaction to homeschooling children. We'll tell you what Lubbock school officials think about the issue. Stay with us.
CBS 13 and American State Bank want you to be safe during severe weather. So tune in to CBS 13 or call 748-1313. CBS 13, the spirit of West Texas.
Without her prescription, it would be too painful for Mrs. Carpenter to lift her granddaughter. Without their prescriptions, Bill's cholesterol level would be dangerously high, and his son Jason would be sidelined by asthma. These days, prescriptions help a lot of people live better, and the People's Prescription Plan has helped them afford their prescriptions. For just $7.95 a month, the People's Prescription Plan can give you savings for everyone in your household, and the average household saves $36 a month at more than 40,000 locations nationwide. You'll also enjoy savings on eyewear and other healthcare products. So if prescriptions help you live better, call now and join more than 350,000 members who already belong to the People's Prescription Plan. The People's Prescription Plan, helping people afford their prescriptions. To join, call 1-800-971-5577. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Voted the #1 and 2 newscasts in the state of Texas. A Texas-sized win for the #1 newscast, KAMC, and the #2 newscast in the state, KLBK-TV.
People in Lubbock speak out.
I think if students feel the need to pray in school, they should definitely be allowed to do so. And I think it's great that they're thinking of changing the law. So if enough students get together with the same motive, then I think something can be done.
I am firmly against student-initiated prayer in public schools. This is a country based on religious freedom. And I do not believe that we should outcast those of other religions, since this country is based on religious freedom.
Watch for the Vox Populi cameras coming to your area soon.
CBS 13, the spirit of West Texas, brought to you by Gene Messer Auto Group.
This portion of CBS 13 News is brought to you by Dr. Dorothy McWhorter.
Once upon a time,
This is the one I like.
a man and a woman fell in love.
It was like I knew her. What if this man is my destiny?
Sleepless in Seattle, CBS Sunday.
You're watching CBS 13's For Women with co-hosts Becky Neighbors and Carrie Zamora with contributions from Carla Leslie and Jocelyn Momenta. This is CBS 13's For Women.
Welcome back to CBS 13's News for Women. Early in the show, we met Kellie Kennedy. For 4 years, she and her husband have homeschooled their children. And they're not alone. More than 300 families here in the Hub City do the same thing. Do public school officials think homeschooling is a good idea? Do they think parents can handle the job? And is it good for the children? I asked Rose Mediano those exact questions. She's the administrative assistant to Lubbock superintendent. She has this to say about homeschooling.
We know that there is a choice for parents in their education. We feel like we can provide the best education in the public schools.
That's because public schools have been around for so many years. Kids filter in and out, and so far it's been a success. Still, homeschool does have its advantages.
I would imagine the interaction with that parent on a day-to-day basis, whereas now parents bring their children to us and we do the best that we can in the schools with our adult teachers that love children. You know, they're in education because they love to be with children and, you know, they work as teachers, but they also love their students and give them a lot of affection and time and counsel as they can. But the advantage that I can see, you know, for a homeschooler is that they're with that parent every day and have a lot of time to interact with them.
But the interaction with friends won't be the same at home. In public school, they have several different social settings.
I know that parents may provide piano lessons and they may provide, you know, youth activities outside of the home, but public schools provide, I mean, we have dance labs, we have piano labs, we have all kinds of athletics, different things that students can be involved in. And I think that is a real detriment when children don't have the access to those things all the time, especially at no charge to parents.
Parents of children in public schools also have access to teachers who are degreed and certified, not to mention specialized in specific subject areas.
I think it's hard for one person to do everything to the best of your ability. And I think that's a tremendous advantage that we have in the public schools that we do have those areas of specialization where a child goes to an English teacher who has a degree in English, and then they can leave there and go to a teacher that's an expert in math. Whereas for any one of us to do all of those things, we may do one or two, maybe even three really well, but to do all of them at an exceptional level, I think it's probably not happening.
Rose Mediano says another thing that's probably not happening with homeschool kids, lessons in schedules and deadlines. Public school is very structured. Homeschool can be very flexible.
You know, when you self-pace, it's at your own pace, and sometimes, you know, when we get into the work world, we can't go by our own pace. We have a schedule to meet, and we have guidelines to meet. If these students go into college from homeschool, you know, they're in a very regimented schedule, and that's going to take some time to get used to that. And at college, you don't have that time. Whereas in public schools, students learn how to pace themselves, how to be ready, how to get good study skills, how to be ready to do all those things that they've got to do.
Rose Mediano trusts public schools. She works in the district, and her kids go to class. For her, homeschooling has never been considered.
It would not be an option for me or for my children. And I believe that public schools have so much to offer students, you know, from the socialization skills to the academics to the extracurricular things, that I think that's really, really important.
And joining me again is Kellie Kennedy. She and her husband homeschool their children and have been for 4 years now. Kellie, what's your reaction to some of the things that the public school says about homeschooling?
Oh, I'm not surprised at all at their reaction. For one, I am a certified degree teacher myself, and I've spent time in the public schools. And I know what it's like to be a teacher and have a heart for my students. And I know that a lot of the concerns that they have with homeschooling, the socialization issue always comes up, the thing with schedules and grades and so on, those are concerns. I know for our homeschool personally, we do hold our kids accountable to certain standards and certain deadlines. We do test them, we issue report cards, and I think a lot of that probably comes from my background as a teacher. But at the same time, some of the beauty of homeschooling is the flexibility that we have. And I don't think that that's a detriment to the kids. I think that being flexible and to be able to identify with kids in all different age groups and all kinds of different surroundings. You know, we may have a child in one class, and then they're with that group of kids for 6 weeks or, you know, a couple of months, and then maybe that class ends, and then they have another opportunity to be with another setting of kids, and they're constantly having to be accustomed to meeting new people and different surroundings and different environments, different age groups, and to be comfortable in that kind of a setting. So I think that prepares them for life as well as anything.
You don't have a negative reaction to public schools. You don't feel badly about public school just because you homeschool your kids.
No, I am a product of homeschooling. Of public school. And I enjoyed public school so much that that's what made me want to be a teacher. We've had our kids in public schools, and we didn't have a bad example or a bad situation at all there. And some of my best friends and relatives have their kids in public school. And, you know, it can work. But, you know, for some people who have their kids in public school, to me, they have as difficult a job or more so than what some people think we do as homeschooling, because, you know, you have to stay on top of your children to know, you know, what they're doing, what they're thinking, what are they really learning, the education that's being presented to them. Are their friends a good influence on them? Are their teachers a good influence on them? And, you know, you can do it as a parent, but it's difficult, and I commend those parents who are doing that side of the fence and making it work.
What do you think about the socialization issue? It seems like that always comes up with homeschool families, because I guess there's the thinking that the kids are always at home, they're never seeing other friends, they're never getting involved in sports or activities or music or dance or whatever. What's your reaction to that?
Well, you know, like I said on the segment earlier, that it's a balancing act. And, you know, when we had our kids in public school, it was a balancing act that way. And we felt like our family didn't have enough time to build the kind of relationships that we wanted to build with our children. And so now that we're homeschooling, we have to balance their social needs. And fortunately, through our church, through other homeschooling families, we've actually gotten to take trips with families and go to Civil War battlegrounds when we studied American history. And we've just had some fantastic experiences with that purpose in mind to balance out their socialization. They play sports in the community, and they take lessons in dance and music, and really that, if anything, we're still balancing it on family versus too much extracurricular.
That's interesting. Well, I know you've mentioned before that it is an overwhelming task to take on the challenge of homeschooling. What about the fact that she mentioned that teachers, even degreed teachers or homeschooling parents, may not have the specialization that students can get at school?
Right. Well, I know there was an article in the Wall Street Journal in the February issue of 2000, and they studied that very thing, and actually the results showed that, and this hurts me to say it because I'm a degree teacher myself, but in homeschooling students, it really didn't matter. It did not matter if the parents had a degree or not, and it mattered even less if the parent was certified as a teacher. You know, nobody knows our kids better than we do as parents. And whenever you're homeschooling, you're pretty much on a one-on-one tutorial level. Mm-hmm. And I think probably what's happening is that benefit is outweighing some of the degrees that that people have. And the other thing is that we have resources outside of ourselves that we can tap into. Mm-hmm. If I want to have my child in physics or something that I don't feel qualified to do, then I'll find somebody who can teach it.
And I guess that's really the key. And another thing with homeschooling is that it may not be right for everybody, and that's okay. It's just a decision that each family has to make.
That's right. You know, we're all on the same team, mm-hmm. and we all have the same goals, and that is to raise these kids to be responsible adults. And I think if we have the same goals, then we're not on the opposing team.
I think so. Kelly, thank you so much for your information today.
Thanks for having me.
The city of Lubbock takes bold steps to encourage seatbelt use. Coming up on News for Women, we'll tell you how not wearing a seatbelt can follow you home.